Good morning, everyone. Welcome to your English class, Unit-5, Maui's Kite, Part-2. We'll continue our explanation from page number 43. From inside the cave, a mighty roar, the keeper ran towards the entrance. But she was too late. The north wind and east wind pushed her over and snatched the kite from the hands of Maui's friend. Maui's kite was swept far out over the sea. He laughed with delight when he saw how far his kite had gone, and at the keeper, who was struggling vainly to put the lid back on Ipu Nui. Then the west wind and south wind howled out of the gourd and knocked it from the woman's hands. Dear students, as we have discussed in our previous video that Maui made a kite, made a big kite with the help of cloth provided by his mother and bamboo sticks and olona shrubs. He decided that he would go to the keeper of the wind and ask her for some breeze at first. When he got that, he was not content. So on the second day, he decided to ask the keeper of the wind to send Ipu Nui, the strongest four winds, to fly his kite. He wanted to see how far his kite can go. Now, in this para, they are telling us, the writer is telling us that when Maui did not listen to the keeper of the wind and sang the song calling the four strong winds, and the wind came over, it took the kite from Maui's friend's hands and swept it away over the sea. He was laughing with delight, but laughing with delight on the kite and the keeper of the wind, who was struggling vainly. Struggling vainly means trying without success. She was trying to close the lid of the Ipu Nui gourd so that she could stop the strong winds to come out. But just then, the west wind and south wind howled out of the gourd and knocked it. Knocked it means threw the gourd away from the keeper of the wind's hands, the woman's hands. Now let's read further. The kite went as high as the cord was long and then tugged fiercely at the cord. The cord began to hum in the wind and the kite disappeared into the darkening clouds. In this para, the writer is telling us that as we know that now all the four winds have come out from the Ipu Nui gourd. The west wind, the south wind, the north wind and the east wind. All these winds have come out from the Ipu Nui gourd. They took the kite as high as the cord was, but after that it started tugging fiercely at the cord. The cord began to hum, and after some time the kite disappeared into the darkening clouds. Darkening clouds means stormy clouds. Thinking that he was in control, Maui called out, "O winds mighty as the gods, return to Ipu Nui." But of course the winds were beyond his control. They raged stronger and stronger until the cord attached to the kite snapped with a mighty crack. Maui almost fell backwards. The kite sailed away over the mountain, never to be seen again. Now here, as the little boy Maui was thinking that the winds are under his control, he could call them back. He started trying to call the winds back, but those winds were out of his control. Those winds uh, started blowing more stronger. Raked means blew forcefully. Those winds were blowing forcefully over the mountains and over the sea. Those winds took the kite from Maui's hands and snapped the cord attached to the kite with a crack and took it over the mountains, never to be seen again. Now let's read further on the next paragraph. The winds continued to rage over the entire island. Rage over means blow fiercely. A heavy rain sent people scurrying in all directions. Scurrying means running in quick, short steps. The winds had proved who was stronger. At last, the keeper of the winds pounced on Ipunui and took it back to the cave. She worked all through the night, gently coaxing the winds back into the gird. Coaxing means persuading somebody to do something by talking in kind and gentle way. In these two paragraphs, the narrator of the story is telling us that the winds were very wild, and they were out of control. It also brought rain, which caused people to move from one place to another in worriedness. The winds had proved who was stronger, and at last the keeper of the winds pounced on the Ipunui gird and took it back to the cave. She worked all through the night. She talked all through the night with the winds and to call them back. Finally, the storm ended over the night. People started calling Maui he who brought the great storm. His friends looked the other way when Maui came to visit. Finding himself alone with nothing to do, Maui built another kite. It was smaller than the first. He flew it near his home when there was no one else about. He would tie the kite to a rock and study its movement in the sky. Soon he could tell when the weather would be fine or stormy. One day he noticed some men going off to the fields. "It will rain today," called out Maui. "Tomorrow will be a better day to work in the fields." The men just scolded at him. But soon it did begin to rain, and the men came running to the village looking in amazement at Maui. Here in this para, it is being said that now when everyone was looking down on Maui and nobody was playing with him, Maui was so alone that he built a small kite again. And this time he used to fly the kite near his home when he was lonely and nobody was with him. And after some time he used to tie the kite with a rock and study the movements of the kite in the sky. Soon he was able to forecast the weather and tell when it would be fine and when it would be stormy. One day, it is being said, one day Maui saw some people going to the fields. He told them that it will rain today and that tomorrow will be a better day to work on. The men just called at him. Scold means frowned. They got angry on him and went to the fields. But after some time, it really began to rain, and when they returned to the village, they were looking in amazement at Maui. Another day, Maui warned a group of women that their clothes would be blown away from the drying place because his kite told him that there would be a storm that today. Later, they were out in their yards chasing their clothes, which were blowing out in the storm. In time, the village people began to depend on Maui and his kite. He taught them how to tell from the dancing movements of the kite which days would be good for planting or fishing or drying clothes. Now here in both these paragraphs it is being said that another day came when he saw some women drying their clothes in the sun. He told them that today a storm will come and your clothes will be blown away. But the women didn't listen. They put their clothes to dry in the sun, but after some time they were chasing the clothes, means they were collecting their clothes which were being blown away due to the storm. After some time, gradually as the time passed, he people started depending on him. He started uh, telling them about how the weather would be, and he used to forecast that when the season would be good for planting, when the season would be good for fishing or drying clothes. The last para is people now started calling him teacher of the weather. Even the keeper of the winds no longer shunned him, and Maui had learned his lesson. Never again did he call for the winds an Ipu Iki or Ipu Nui, a Hawaiian legend. In this last para, it is being told to us that after that incident, Maui learned a great lesson and he started, and his loneliness taught him the lesson about the weathers and the changes in weathers through the kite, and due to which he was called the teacher of the weather in his village. The keeper of the winds was also no longer angry with him, and Maui learned such a big lesson that he never called for the winds of Ipu Iki or Ipu Nui. That's all for today. I hope you all have understood this lesson. Thank you and bye bye.